What is up? I just muted myself before I started talking. He was already muted. That's how professional I am here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scoundrels of the Force, a special time, and we're moving our times around. This is not our due time. This is a special time due to Easter because I have to go to my old man's a little early today. So I thank my esteemed panel for being so flexible and joining me today. We were almost joined by a wild door finally again. Unfortunately, things happen. We're not quite there yet, but I think next week, hopefully, will be the time. That's how I'm going to cross my fingers that we get Bedore back. But until we get Bedore back, we're here holding the fort down. I am PLD. This is my brother from another mother, from Estonia, Mr. Richard Eric Jarvi. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. It's good to be back. The intro you just did, Send Live always, they always have the mute problem. So, this is where, we've made it when we have the same problems as they do.
Technical difficulties all the way around. It tends to be an Action Army thing as well. I kind of find that as well. Yeah. So I'm just actually impressed that we started only 10 minutes late. Usually it's like more than that, but here we are. And another another scoundrel of the Force. Always welcome on to this show. Another brother, this time from UK. Matty Gunner, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. Happy Easter to everyone. Happy Sunday and another week. With slowly getting towards the whole light at the end of the tunnel thing, having positive events start to happen in our lives. Some good friends of ours got married this weekend, so things are starting to look up.
Salute, that's right, to Action Army, Mike Deacon and Bethany Curl. They got married, and half the army is there this weekend. I'm actually sad I'm not there. There was a chance I was going to make it. My job, unfortunately, did not lift a travel ban until just the other day. They lifted it 3 days ago or 2 days ago, and by then it was already too late, so I couldn't make it, unfortunately. But I'm there in spirit. I think we're all there in spirit. I can't wait for that next live event, the Schmodown. I think that's the next time the Action Army will probably get all together in full force. But it is things are starting to open up. I'll even mention that yesterday, for the first time in a long, long time, I got to actually go to a movie theater with my brother.
You? Right.
I did. And I just felt I usually get like a smaller medium pop. I got a fucking big, large bucket of popcorn.
Yes.
I covered it in butter. I got a big ass Coke Zero. I sat down and watched Godzilla versus Kong, and I couldn't have been more happy. I don't know if I liked the movie more because I was finally back at the theater, just that happy space. But I don't give a fuck. It was a great time. I'm so happy to be back in theaters. My theater is starting to open up. Actually, my local theater, that's what I had to drive about 30 minutes to. My local theater is starting to open up in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. So that's going to happen a little more and more. So I'm very excited about it. So
I'm so happy for you guys because for a while there, we were kind of in a flipped situation because Estonia was doing pretty good. Cinemas were open, everything was open. Now we're completely shut down. There's nothing. There's only convenience stores and pharmacies, and that's it. There's nothing left. It's crazy, but I'm happy for you guys, and hopefully I'll get to go to the cinema as well. And Godzilla versus Kong, man, that's a great movie to go back to theaters with.
The perfect movie. I mean, let's face it. When you're a little bit hesitant to go back out in the world, there's only certain movies that you'll draw you to the theaters. You look down the list of what was available, and that was the one. That's the one I want to see in theaters. For
mm-hmm.
Sure.
Chris Nolan is pissed.
Yeah. In other news, I wonder if the MCU, if Disney made a rash decision to move Black Widow again. Finally, I think Black Widow actually might have been able to open up in May at this point. Because Godzilla's opening up strong. Financially speaking, they actually did pretty good at the box office. I believe it was $45 million for 5 days. That's third biggest movie in the whole pandemic already after 5 days. So that's a good sign.
I will say, my local theater doesn't open until May 17th, but they did announce they will be playing season 2 of The Mandalorian on their screens. They have dedicated a whole day because they did it for season 1, and now they're doing it for season 2 when cinemas open up here in May. They're going to be spending a whole day, one screen dedicated to just season 2 of The Mandalorian, and I am going.
Definitely. Is it just back to back, a whole marathon of the entire season, or is it different days for different episodes?
one whole day, one whole marathon.
That's a nice commitment right there. That's something it's tough to do in my old age, but I would make it happen. That's for sure.
Dude, I would love to see the Jedi episode on the big screen. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. We are talking Scoundrels of the Force. We're actually talking Star Wars, but real quick. Sorry, you're only a couple people in the chat. I'm gonna put this up for a second. I want to do one quick Godzilla vs. Kong spoiler. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. If you haven't seen Godzilla vs. Kong, pause it now or mute it now, and I'll take the banner off. I'll give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Maddie.
What?
My boy whooped your boy's ass.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he whooped your boy's ass.
Fuck you.
Godzilla won 2 out of 3. And at the end of the day, he stepped in his chest, stopped the boy's heart, and walked away because he's like, you know what? I already beat this fucker down.
Okay, I'm gonna completely technicality and outrule you right now. Do you know that? Do you know what happens in MMA and boxing when you turn your back?
Oh, don't give me that. Don't give me that.
DQ.
Don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit. You know as well as I do. This wasn't an MMA match. It was a fight to the death. And he was done. He was done for. He stopped his heart. He walked out and said, yeah, you're my bitch. I could fucking fuck you right now. You could do a damn thing about it. And I was going to walk away. That's it.
So if you and I were in a street fight and I turn and I walk away, who won?
If you're laying on the floor with your heart stopped? If I'm laying on the floor with the heart stopped?
I got back up. I got back up.
Because a human actually laid they bolted your ass and restarted your heart.
I still got up.
You can say all you want. You can say all you want. We both know what really went down. We all know what really went down.
You should have finished me when you had the chance, and you didn't. So
I'll give you that much. Godzilla did win in the water, like for sure, like by a landslide. But on ground,
Kong slapped him, and Kong like punched him. He rolled it. And then Godzilla slapped him back. The bitch went flying 50 feet. It was dull. Come on now. Say what you want to say. All right.
Godzilla had to pussy out and use a death ray because he couldn't fist fight like a little bitch.
That's enough. That's enough for now. Go to the movie to find out what we're talking about. If you haven't seen it, and I'm sorry if I gave you spoiler warning. We're gonna go back and actually talk Star Wars, which is what we're here for.
But we're kind of having a different kind of episode today because we're not doing a big movie like we usually do. We were supposed to do Star Wars Solo, a Star Wars story, but we're going to be doing a news edition this week.
Yeah, because actually, as I said, I had a little bit of time. Last time we went 2.5 hours on Revenge of the Sith, which I kind of understand, but I had no time to do it this week, so we decided to cut out the movie this week and talk because we had a lot of big news to talk about. And you know what? I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. We are going to try to restructure the show a little bit. We have a little more ideas to potentially just make it a little more structured, a little more focused, so we don't ramble on forever like we can. We are apt to do about our favorite Star Wars topics. We don't want to keep you here forever. So next week, hopefully we'll have some ideas about restructuring, but we will go over Solo again next week instead of this week. This week, we had a lot of news, and I figured that would fill up our time pretty well. So without further ado, let's get to that news we had. The first news was a kind of a soft news bit talking about Solo. Actually, a good time to bring that up. We had a quote from Aaron Kellyman. Kellyman, who we know now also as Carly Morgenthau from the MCU's Falcon and Winter Soldier. But
what an episode!
Oh, that was an episode. That was another good. We have to start doing a random maybe an hour Scoundrels of the Force and an hour other stuff in the other pop culture movies and stuff, so we can talk about everything we want to talk about.
I know what part of this episode I'm clipping out.
I love that idea. Yeah, you should. You show it to your boys. But the one we know Aaron Kellyman from in Star Wars, obviously, she played Enfys Nest in Solo. Speaking of Solo, hashtag make Solo 2 happen. I'll also throw that in there because I still love the idea of Solo
doesn't need to be Solo 2, just a continuation of Solo. Because I would more prefer if it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I cut out for a second. If I would, because I don't really need Han Solo there anymore.
Right.
I don't mind his performance, but I just want the continuation of Enfys Nest. I want the Maul Kira storyline. This is exactly what I need. I feel like this is the Star Wars movie out of the Disney movies that deserves a sequel the most, or continuation of all of them.
And I agree. And hashtag make Solo 2 is just a nice, cute, easy way to say that. You don't need to necessarily need a movie, but basically that's a nice way, cute way of saying let's get some continuation of the storyline. Yeah, you're right. Steve, nothing wrong with it, I guess. But sometimes it's nice to have a little focus too. So, well, I don't think we'll stop rambling completely. Let's be honest. We're just not going to ever stop rambling completely. Hey, Tim, what's going on? Of course, Monty. You should be here for Matty and Jarvi.
That's some shade here.
That's some shade. That's all right. I'm used to it. We go back and forth sometimes. It's good to know. But anyway, back to my quote. Erin Kellyman, she did say in that interview that she had about during her tour of Falcon Winter Soldier, she said, I would absolutely love to play Enfys Nest again. I think she was such a fun character to play. It was my first movie, and I had such a great experience on that set, and Disney were incredible. If they said, do you want to play her again? I'd absolutely love to do that again. That would be amazing. She did follow up saying that she has not heard anything about a continuation, which, of course,
all right,
put a damper on the whole thing, potentially. But you know what? Liam Neeson's also not heard anything about Obi-Wan, and I have a feeling that that's a bunch of horseshit, too. So who knows what's going to happen. But you said if we already basically talked about Jarvi, I'd love to see Enfys Nest's story continued, even if it was separate from Kira and Darth Maul's story, or Maul's story at that point. I wouldn't mind seeing a just continuation on a couple different levels. Enfys Nest was very much a character that jumped onto the screen. She already established this, like, some kind of character can come on the screen and establish a lore without doing hardly anything. And you're immediately like, let's find out more about this character. So I just need it in some way, shape, or form. I'll take an animated series. I would take a live action series. Hell, I would take a book or a comic book about it.
I almost gave it to you on the animated, but let's keep it on the screen, guys. Yeah, I know books are cool, but come on, let's keep it on the screen.
Animated still on the screen, as we're gonna find out and talk about.
Well, I mean, there is the and I'm kind of in two minds about this, if it's going to happen or not. We have the Lando series.
That's true. To
my knowledge, they haven't actually firmly got Donald Glover in, because to my knowledge at the minute he is working on new Childish Gambino music, and he takes a long time with Childish Gambino albums. He doesn't just like rush his music out, so we may not hear anything about that for a while. So you've got the Falcon Winter Soldier press run going on at the minute. That could be in some kind of development. Maybe we get 2 or 3 years down the line, and then suddenly it gets announced.
Yeah,
Kellyman will be as Enfys Nest in the Lando series.
Right, we haven't had a determination of where exactly that Lando series will fall. We just know it's Lando. We know they're shooting for Donald Glover. They never actually even said what they're doing with that. I can't believe they're going to do a series based on Billy D. Williams at his age, though, because that wouldn't make so much sense in the timeline. So you gotta think it's Donald Glover, and even if they do a whole, which I would love to see. I'd actually love to see them both, and I would love to see the whole like wraparound kind of thing where it's like Lando telling stories to maybe telling stories to Jana or something like that, like back in the day, like back to get the episode over a beer. Let me tell you about the time that we or something like that, and you go flash back, and there's Donald Glover. We could absolutely see Enfys Nest in that angle if they do it at the right timeline. Lando messing around with the rebellion here and there, that wouldn't surprise me at all. As long as they, just like he did in Rebels, to be honest with you, a few times. Yeah, those little touches and goes with that. So I would like to see that. Hopefully that's the way it goes. I'd love to see her back again. But for right now, as long as she's excited about it and happy about it, then there's a chance we could see it happen again. So.
Don't you think that she's actually playing this character in the Falcon, the Winter Soldier? Because she's pretty much the same type of character. She's kind of a rebel doing these, like operating in the gray area. She's badass. She's well, exactly like sort of like a gray character, but you're still sorry.
You understand why she's doing the thing she's doing?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But and she feels very similar to Enfys Nest that she was in Solo.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. No, I think there might be a little bit more of a darker area in Falcon Winter Soldier. That might be just what we've seen more of her. We don't know exactly.
I feel like she's gonna get more redeemed, though. I feel like she's gonna. Yeah.
To a degree. I don't know. Like she kind of did cross the line a little bit this week. Talk about spoilers about that, but we'll have to find out.
Yeah, spoilers. Yep.
We'll have to find out about that as we go on. But you're right. You're not wrong about that. I do think that it's going to be a time where we could see that Enfys Nest is very similar to Carla though. But, all right, moving on. We actually got an announcement on April Fool's, so I had to double check and make sure that it wasn't an April Fool's joke. But we have another announcement of a new book. One we knew was coming, but now we know it's coming a lot sooner than we thought it was. It's coming out this year now. Thrawn, Ascendancy, Lesser Evil, the finishing up of the prequel Thrawn trilogy. I gotta say, for the Thrawn trilogies, I mean, Thrawn was the biggest guy back in the EU initially. He's the one that really started the EU, his books, the Heir of the Empire trilogy in the Legacy days. And then it was a long time to heard anything. Zahn came back, did a few things here and there. But it took a long time for him to be introduced to the canon, into the new canon with the Rebels and everything else. But since then, Zahn's come back and he's fucking hyped. And let's just pumping out these Thrawn books. We had a Thrawn trilogy. Now we have the Thrawn prequel trilogy. For going back into that, I guess we're hoping we're going to have a Thrawn sequel series at some point, although that might take place on the screen in Ahsoka potentially. I'm hoping so anyway, to find out what happens after Rebels. But it's just cool. I'm glad it's coming pretty sooner than later. I'm at a point in Star Wars books that a lot of stuff have come out, so I get hyped about when they come out. At the same time, kind of like, as long I have so many books to read that to me it doesn't necessarily matter when they come out, as long as they come out. But I'm hyped. I'm hyped about having another Thrawn book to read this year. Are you guys going to read this one, Maddie?
I'm going to read it. The last two, as I said on a previous episode, they didn't like hit me as much as a lot of people did. I wasn't a massive fan of them, but I understand this is Thrawn's beginnings. So obviously he's going to be building up to where he is now. And of course, like Filoni with Ahsoka, if there's one person I'm going to trust to write a good Thrawn story, it's Zahn.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like no one else could do it as well as Timothy Zahn ever could. So
Thrawn is his baby, just like Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's.
Yeah, so I'll read it. But as I say, the last two, I don't know what it is. They just haven't grabbed my attention. I've read them and been like, all right, that's cool. Which is weird because I love Thrawn as a character.
I'll admit I definitely been slow burn reading it. Like this, the High Republic I got, and I was hyped up so much that I read it through in like one sitting. Thrawn, I just kind of put in my rotation. I have a rotation. I'm a weird reader. I tell you, people always say I'm weird, but like I'll have like 8 books I'm reading at once, and I'll kind of like I'll put them in this rotation. I'll go, I'll read chapter this, and kind of go through and so it takes me a long time to read some things. This is one I just definitely put in the rotation. So I'm still in the middle of the second one. I like a lot of the idea, like a lot of the world building, a lot of the core stuff. I think it could be definitely good for expanding the universe more. Although it seems like during 2, we're starting to meet or at least getting hints of what was the Yuuzhan Vong, the new version of the Yuuzhan Vong potentially. But I'm definitely intrigued to see how that plays into the third book and the greater galaxy as a whole. But I get what you mean. I mean, this is also the one thing about it is that it's as a prequel, the building up, like I said, you know where we're going. That always makes it a little tougher to prequels are always a tougher sell for me because we already have the important story of where they are. So hearing where they came from is cool, but not necessarily necessary to a degree. But
yeah,
not as necessary as seeing like the Fall of Anakin Skywalker. That was a prequel series that was pretty necessary to the overall storyline.
Yeah.
Jarvi, how about you? Are you reading any of these, or are you excited about trying to read any of these? What's your thoughts?
I haven't been reading any of the Star Wars books lately. Honestly, I've kind of fallen off of books altogether. But I wanted to ask you guys: this is a Thrawn prequel? So how much before, like, the Rebel storyline for Thrawn is this happening?
Well, there's original Thrawn trilogy, which was and that took place before Rebels as well, actually, technically speaking. So this takes place before that. I don't know the actual time frame.
How old is the guy?
He's this is him in his like it's his younger age. So he's like, I think he's like early 20s, or at least the equivalent of early 20s in this series. Is that what you would think, Maddie? Somewhere around there?
Yeah, I would say early, at the youngest, 21. 22.
In this game. Whereas in Rebels, he's probably 30s.
Yeah, early 30s.
I don't actually have the exact time frame in my heart. I'm not studying Fish and Down for it, so I don't know exactly. But
it does make me curious for Thrawn and Ahsoka because we're going to get the older, the wiser, wiser, like even more wiser, the veteran Thrawn.
Right. Exactly. That's what we're gonna find out with that. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see either way. I'm excited for it enough, and hopefully it'll come to fruition. So any last pieces on that before we move on from anybody? We're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Speaking of exciting things, I just mentioned that the High Republic was something that was very exciting for us. The books that we've been doing kind of grab their attention. We want to see where the Nihil are going, where everything's going. We got another announcement of something from the High Republic, which I wasn't expecting, and I don't know about you guys are expecting. They did announce this when they initially announced the High Republic. They did talk about a multimedia project, as it were. So it was exciting to see the announcement of a all new audio original story set in the High Republic, coming from Kevin Scott, who is a writer of the High Republic Marvel comic, the upcoming novel, The Rising Storm. And it's following one of our villainous Nihil from the first book there, Lorna D. She was first in the Light of the Jedi novel. And I'm very excited about this one specifically because I like to see her backstory a little bit. I'm not sure, they didn't say when in time this is taking place. So we'll hear more about it. Maybe I can get a little more hyped about it. But even right now, I'm kind of like, you know what? Let's get it out. I want to hear more about this organization. And this one is in Pacific. Outside of Martian Row, this was actually one of my favorite characters in the whole thing. What about you, Matt? Are you hyped about this?
Yeah, like you know how much I love the Nile. So like especially like Lorna D, like I want to see how she forms a relationship and a friendship with Marchion Row. How does she come to the Nile? Do they find her? Does she find them? And especially because you have the Tempest, and I believe this is called Tempest Runner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. It's called Tempest Runner, just like that's what she is, a Tempest Runner.
So we're gonna find out more about the Tempest Runners, the Tempest, the Nile. Yeah, just give me more. Give me more Nile. Give. I would be happy if we didn't see the Jedi for another 6 months. Just give me more Nile.
So can I ask my rookie question again here? Is Nile sort of like? I know it's like it consists of like 3 subcategories of this. What do you call it? This type of like marauders, or what they are? Is it like sort of like Crimson Dawn is a sort of like a pirate group, let's say, for lack of a better word? Is this something similar, or is this more, or does this have more lore and some more structure to it?
We don't really know the lore at the minute. You have the Eye of the Nile, which is Marchion Row. You have the Tempest Run. So there is kind of a structure, but it's really like.
Is it like a cult? Because if we're comparing it to like this, like the Sith, for example, like that's probably too easy of an analogy.
Punk rock
but
space Vikings, that's the best way I can describe them. They
I
are
would say
Vikings.
it's a combination of it's for you, Jarvi, what you're saying is kind of a combination of the Sith and the Crimson Dawn, because there's definitely lore. We haven't explored a lot of it, but there's been hints of it. They talked a little bits of pieces of it that we have to go into. I'm about to sneeze so long.
Because I saw that there was why I'm asking this is because when I read up on them, it seemed like they have a lot more rules and sort of things to follow. Like, for example, the Tempest Runner, like they become the Tempest Runner for life, if I'm not mistaken, until they either die or like give up their power or something. And it felt like there's like a code there that they really follow. Like if we're looking at Crimson Dawn, it feels like whoever kills the boss becomes the new boss, and it's sort of like just a criminal group. There's
definitely a code, and that's where the lore comes in. The structure and the lore of like the history of how they came together and how they run things. They are changing things. Martian Row is changing things at the end of the first book, so that's part of what the conflict is, especially with Lorna and the other the Tempest Runner, the three heads of the dragon, so to speak. That's below the main head. There's like a main head, and there's the 3 heads, and there's the rest of the crew. So there's definitely some bits and pieces of it. Like I said, I think there's bits and pieces of both. That's why I'm so excited to figure out more, because we get that lore, which I love in Star Wars. I love lore. And there's definitely more to explore there. But it's definitely also space rock, punk rock, space Vikings. in the pirate sense as well. So it's unique enough to be exciting and different, but similar enough where you know what you're getting in Star Wars. So I'm happy for it. I'm excited for it. They could have done a better job trying to pick a group of characters or a antagonistic group to give us for the High Republic, considering we couldn't do a Sith. We couldn't do the Sith, obviously, because they hadn't reappeared in the millennia, per se. So the Sith couldn't be the main bad guys. They could at best be poking around the shadow. Maybe we'll find out the Sith are helping out they can find the Sith are maybe behind helping out Marchion Ro in the background somewhere. I could see that, like in a way, like eventually you find out that Palpatine's masters, like Plagueis or Beyond or whoever it is, has been kind of like influencing them.
That purple rod that Marchion Ro holds, Yoda for some reason he doesn't like that. So
doesn't like that at all. So
it could be some kind. The Sith could be involved, and that would make them even better for me. But I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be great. I think that'd be an awesome thing to come up with. So.
And it's called an audio original. Does that mean it's going to be like an audiobook in the sense of like the Dooku book was, that there were like actual actors doing the voices? Okay,
that's what it is. That's what they mean. They're trying to do this more and more. I never actually did the Count Dooku audiobook in that format. I've never been an audiobook guy. I've never done. Yeah. I know. People have told me I should do it. People have said that, especially the Star Wars ones are great because they have music and they have sound effects and it actually feels like a real Star Wars story. So I probably will at some point give those a shot. I did this one. This one actually was released a little bit later on in kind of book format. It was like script format, pretty much. They released it basically as a script how it goes. I read it that way. I enjoyed the story. But I felt like I probably would have enjoyed it better if I actually listened to it. So one of these days I'll go back and actually listen to the whole thing and probably get a better idea about it. But either way, if we get a story, I'm actually excited that they're exploring new ways of telling stories. So I'm all on board. As far as I'm concerned, multimedia projects to me are exciting, and I love seeing different pushes towards things. And the more we kind of try to expand this out, the happier I am. I'm not going to lie, the happier I am. So I'm excited about this. He did say, I think, that the very brief blurb suggests that she could be dealing with some internecine warfare from her Nihil cohorts. That makes sense. The structure of the villain's criminal organization is built somewhat on seeing position and power out from under each other. I got that from Star Wars Newsnet as well. Shout them out. Friends of a few of them now after their entries into the Schmodown. They're a great news organization for Star Wars. I curate all my news from there. They kind of cut through the bullshit and they give you straight up, this is real, this is a rumor, or this is bullshit. And they got some great opinions out as well. They do a broadcast called Resistance Broadcast Podcast, which is also pretty cool. Shout out to them. I think at some point I'm going to try to reach out and get one of them on here because I'd love to talk Star Wars with them, especially with our new time. I feel like getting the new time going is going to help us out in a lot of ways. We can have some guests from all sorts of areas of the world as far as that goes. Without further ado, though, I think we can move on. We're going to wrap up the show a little bit. It's going to be a shorter episode than usual, but we got two big topics we got to tackle before we do say goodbye. The first one is obviously the Bad Batch trailer came out. A new Bad Batch trailer came out, and I'm excited to say, folks, I'm going to steal this thunder a little bit. I'm excited to say Jarvi came into our chat and said, dude, I'm actually hyped about this. And that's a big deal from Jarvi. He is not an animated Star Wars fan. He didn't even like
thought hell had frozen over.
I did too. Jarvi hasn't even seen the Bad Batch episodes from the Clone Wars, so that's definitely one arc you're gonna have to watch before the show starts. I think I should definitely make you do that at least. So
I wouldn't even mind because I feel like I already know a lot because the trailer did a really good job of telling us their backstories. They're these specialists. They're hard to control. I feel like I know them already. I know there's a lot about them in Clone Wars, but I also like the fact that you don't have to know the story. You can just jump into this one. Although I think I'm gonna want to watch the episodes just to get a running start.
Yeah. The only thing about it, unfortunately, I'll say this now, is that it does the Scoundrels of the Force. They're getting another show too, an animated show by the Scoundrels of the Force. I'm all here for it. No live action. Fuck no live action. I'm too old and fat to get live action. Bad Batch at this point, though. The only bad thing about it is you can hop in, I think, but it does spoil one of the arcs of one of the clones, Echo. Who had a lot of stories before this that led up to the Bad Batch. Actually, in fact, the reason why we meet the Bad Batch is about his storyline. So some of that's unfortunately going to get spoiled. So it might hit lesser when you go back and watch the Clone Wars when we do our Clone Wars watch through and discussion, which I'm still making Jarvi do. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I will definitely plead and beg, and we'll make something work. It's the way we get things done here. He'll do it for the audience because he loves an audience. So I'll have to make sure that happens.
I'm gonna give it my best.
You're 3 episodes at a time. 3 episodes at a time. It's only one at a time, barely an hour a week. So yeah. So that's it. So anyway, without further ado, I think we should just watch the trailer and talk about it.
Let's do this.
So, warning to the people in the chat that sometimes can get tricky. If the stream happens to go down, hang around and it'll come back. We'll finish up and talk about it then. But hopefully, you'll get to watch this whole thing through, and I'll talk over enough of it that we can not get taken down. Without further, I started out immediately. So, without further ado, I'm going to watch this thing and let's see what we have to say about it.
Should we just keep talking so the sound doesn't?
Yeah, let's just talk like random.
Let's do the voiceovers.
The voiceover.
A test is in order.
In a world.
The Yoda.
5 enhanced clones. More
Nino.
Falcon and Nino. That's awesome.
Yet they exhibit a concerning level
So
of
this
disobedience.
already feels way darker than the Clone Wars. This is why I'm loving this.
Yeah.
This is like badass. And the physics. He threw the guy. He fell. The physics are in place here, not like in Clone Wars where they fucking flip all over the place.
Nothing but trouble.
Just suplex it.
That reminds me a lot of the heavy cloned episodes of the Clone Wars. There's a few arcs that are really dark and really clone-specific.
You know who we are.
Do we get Liam in this? This little fucker Liam.
Good thing.
Hyperdrive's online. But I'm pretty sure Liam's dead at this point. Spoiler alert. You had to see the movie that came out like eons ago.
And Crosshair.
Your move.
We get Dave. That's what I want.
Dave.
Do we get Dave? We might get Dave.
I want Clone Force
music
99
works.
found and
It's-
wiped
Now
out.
this is what gets me is in all the initial. No, I'm gonna pause it real quick. That'll help too, I think. We're still up, by the way. I'm gonna pause it right there. The what they just said. Tarkin said he wants Clone 99 Force found and terminated. That to me is new news. The initial talking had been like that. This is about the Bad Batch after the Clone Wars. Tarkin uses them to do this, yada yada yada. Now it seems that's turned around, and now they're going to be a group on the run, almost like another rebel sect. Without, hopefully, I'm hoping that they're not rebels. I hope they stay like neutral or like not necessarily fighting the Empire, but just trying to survive and doing jobs and like kind of the A-Team. No way, like initially we're talking about the A-Team in Star Wars.
Right.
That's what I want to see, but I like them not being hired by the Empire, like Tarkin being like an antagonist. He should be. That lets them do a whole lot with different sects of the universe. After we can see the Ahsoka come in, we can see Rex come in, as we actually do at one point very briefly in this trailer. Rex does make an appearance. We do get the first animated appearance of Fennec Shah. But here, let's go back and watch the rest of it. This hopefully I'll go back just a smidge.
Found and wiped out.
The galaxy's a dangerous place to be.
Who's that?
That's Fennec Shah.
Oh, that was her. Okay.
Like that right there. Make sure I go back.
Yeah, with the helmet.
We need to get out of here. What do you say, kid? You want to come with us?
How can I help?
Ron Rambo.
That's basically what it is. It's Ron Rambo.
Yep.
The Clone Wars have
There's Rex. Right there. And a laser bow.
either adapt
Who's that?
and survive
No, I didn't.
or die with
I
the
don't know who
past.
it is. There's Fennec Shah. Yeah.
The decision is yours.
And Saw Gerrera.
We do
That's
what we
makes that
do.
cool.
Think about that's perfect. That's a
Strap
perfect
in,
mix.
kid.
Saw Gerrera and these guys.
Yeah.
Is that a Jedi with them?
No, that is. I was actually watching Star Wars Explain, Alex Damon's video on who that is. That is the character's name is Omega. So to me, that sounds like she's some kind of unaltered clone.
Yeah, because she has like this sort of symbol on her forehead as well. It feels like she has some kind of like powers infused in her or something.
I want to talk about that part right there. It looks like we're going to get into the Slaver's episode. That's something you won't reference, Jarvi, at this point, but Maddie knows what I'm talking about. The Slaver episode of Clone Wars with the whips there. Hope we're going back to Nigeria, finds out more about them as well. Yeah, overall, there's a lot going on here, and I agree with Jarvi. This actually got me hyped up even more than the first one. I was already pretty hyped. And Filoni I trust, and I already love the clones and everything else. I was not someone who was initially like completely hyped because the Bad Batch arcs. There's only one arc in the Clone Wars, and it's really a one and done kind of situation. So at that point, it's kind of like, okay, cool. We're gonna see the 18. Okay, it depends on how it does. But the timing of it, like where it's set, and this trailer now introducing these characters that we're gonna get, it brings up the best of what I thought possible. So now I'm hyped for it. Saw Gerrera, Rex, and getting Fennec Shaw in there. Who knows? You can see. The only thing that would have made it better. Is if we got to see Hondo and Akka. But that's just me.
Could possibly happen. I do have one bit of speculation and one little prediction that I want to get your take on.
Okay.
Crosshairs go into the Empire.
You think so?
Yep.
You think so?
I think
the Bad Batch.
I think Crosshair, if they do multiple seasons, or it's going to be later on in this season, I think Crosshair is going to either definitely go over to the Empire or flirt with or be given some kind of an ultimatum or option to be like, hey, we could use a sniper with your skills over on to train up these stormtroopers and be on the Empire. But you got to turn on your brothers.
So, I guess something like that happening.
So Crosshair is sort of like the Deadshot of the Bad Batch.
That's a good way to say it, pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. We got Rambo, got Deadshot, we got Deadshot, Crosshair. We got like the Hulk, basically, the kind of the Hulk or Drax kind of character. Drax to a degree. Type character. He's a little smarter than Drax, but not entirely that much smarter. But yeah, that's where we are on that. We do have anything else you want to say about that?
Breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ryan just asked, is a dog in the background breathing? Yeah, she's really tired. She's all good.
Good check. Good check on though. Like, thanks, Ryan. We got a
Mina. Yeah, she's good.
There she's good. Barely. All right.
Gotcha.
Anytime, Ryan. Anytime. We're here for you. We're here for you. All right. The last bit of news before we wrap up and get to go to my old man's is the big announcement of the week, as far as I think everybody was concerned.
Yeah.
And the announcement of real quick. That's the poster that you're gonna have.
So sick.
That's a great poster.
And
not only that, but we're gonna get 70-minute premiere.
Oh yeah.
70-minute premiere. That's gonna be on May the 4th, of course, and then another episode that week. So I gotta tell you right now, that Sunday, Scoundrels of the Force, there's not gonna be any probably not be much news, probably won't be anything else. We're just gonna go deep dive into 2 big episodes of the Bad Batch. That's what's gonna happen. If I'm having my way, which I probably will because it's my channel.
I'm good with it. I'm cool with it. We just need to make sure that the Jarvi watches that Clone Wars arc before May the 4th.
Yeah, I don't think
give me the episodes, the episode numbers, and I'll get them.
Okay. I'll get them for you. I'll talk to you about that off screen afterwards with that to find it. But all right, here we go. It's actually the last season. It's like the last season, so season 7. So it's good. You guys should get animation. You'll probably enjoy it that way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, without further ado, the other big announcement, the one that was captivating all of our hearts and attention, the Obi-Wan Kenobi cast was announced a little bit further as we're going on here. Of course, obviously Ewan McGregor, not shocked. They already announced Hayden Christensen, which I still, given that they said, all right, let's see, during the announcement of the cast, they said the story begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which is a new thing. I don't think we actually knew exactly when it took place. We knew it took place between 3 and 4, where Kenobi faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend. It is, but we knew it was between 3 and 4, but that's 20 years, so we didn't know whereabouts in the 20 years it took place. Now we have a more specific halfway point, pretty much. Because 10 years after the dramatic events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, where Kenobi faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice Anakin Skywalker turned evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. I initially thought it was going to take place a little closer to episode 3. That was my initial thought. So Obi-Wan's been there for a while. He's been there for 10 years now. That means Luke is about 10 years old. So that's a lot more telling. In that one sentence, a lot more telling about where we were. Obi-Wan should probably have been talking to Qui-Gon for a while now at this point. And Anakin's
maybe he hasn't gotten through yet, though. Maybe it's a process, you know.
Well, theoretically, but he's already gotten through to Yoda. Because Yoda got through to Yoda episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's interesting to see. So I don't know. Maybe he has a hard time finding Obi-Wan. I don't know. I have to find out more. I mean, then again, Liam Neeson's not on that picture. So
Well, yeah, but
he's not announced. So
They ain't going to announce that.
He has
No
to.
way.
What kind of a percentage would you give that he like? Do you think there's a chance that he isn't in the series at all? Not even voice. There's like no chance.
I got
There's
100% chance to be in it.
I think there's always a chance. I think there's I think you got a 5%. I think it's about a 5% chance.
Okay,
he's not in it.
That's fair. That's
only
smart.
Because I can't until I see everything. I've been trained recently to like be disappointed. There's like to not buy into fan speculation and everything because it always ends up like biting in the ass if you go too much and you start saying, "Oh, it's definitely going to happen," and it doesn't happen. You're like, "Fuck!" So I don't want to do that. I can't see how they could do this without him. Mm-hmm. I think everybody in the fan base wants it. I think everybody who's ever liked Star Wars, I've never heard anybody say they don't want it. I've heard everybody say this is the one thing they want is Qui-Gon. So I can't see how they ignore that. I think a question more for me will be is how much do we get of him? Is he a heavy presence or is he just going to be there every once in bed? I don't know. I don't need him much.
You can't have him too. Like you can't have him heavy. Like right. I mean, you can't use him too much. You just got to use him in the perfect situations. Right. And I think we can still see Obi-Wan learning, like training to commune with him, because I think they've been saying that there's going to be a lot of flashbacks in this one. So even if this is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, we probably will get flashbacks how he first settled on Tatooine.
Well, that's a big question too, though. Is like again flashbacks. That's always been fan assumption. No one has officially said anything about flashbacks.
True, but we can still. My point is that we can still see him first get there and sort of settle in. The fact that he's been there 10 years doesn't mean that we can't get a few of these.
Yeah, that's true.
Flashbacks.
The flashback, I think, always would have been spurred from the fact that Hayden Christensen is playing Darth Vader.
Exactly.
It is kind of weird in that, like, you're going to cast Hayden Christensen only to put him in the suit. Like, that would make absolutely no sense.
It's going to be like...
Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
I have in my head how they could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have an idea in my brain, like, they are... it's when Kenobi and Vader are fighting, and then you have some kind of camera trickery where it flashes between Vader in the suit and Anakin, Vader in the suit and Anakin. And maybe they do certain sequences that they did in Revenge of the Sith, certain saber sequences, and it flashes to Anakin because it was the same one.
It could be flashbacks to the Clone Wars, could absolutely be that. I always thought there's a potential that we get like a Twilight of the Apprentice situation in Rebels where Vader and Obi-Wan fight and Obi-Wan happens to smash that mask and you get that like...
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
The eye color change.
Potentially something like that.
He can have the helmet off for brief periods of time. We've seen when I can't remember which movie that is now. When we see it's in the OT, like
Empire.
He's behind when he's turning. He's getting So we can have these, and exactly. I think it was last episode that we talked about if they do end up fighting again, like he's gonna briefly show him or something like, "Look what you did to me," sort of like this kind of moment. Not as easy as it sounded now.
And it could be kind of like
in that sense.
Forced acid trip, so to speak, as well, where they all kind of like meet in some kind of forced astral plane kind of thing, and then Anakin totally could take off the helmet for a while there, potentially. I don't know. There's a lot of potential to go around, but having Hayden Christensen in, you're seeing Anakin. Otherwise, there's no reason to have him in it. That's the main point, obviously. But without further ado, let's go back. The other one we did know officially was the Indira Varma one, the Sand Snake from Game of Thrones. Obviously, that was one we definitely had announced already, so that one wasn't a surprise. A few of these names I know, a few of these I don't. I'm going to save two of them to the end, and I think you know which two I'm talking about. Previously, returners of the franchise, shall we say.
Is there like any chance that Rupert Friend's not going to be a villainous character? I mean, look at that face. Like that at least a shit weasel.
Yeah. He does have that.
He's like too handsome, too charming to be the good guy.
He's almost. I think he's almost like an Imperial.
Yeah.
Or
Has to be Imperial.
Or something to that effect. I'm not sure exactly. It's got to be some kind of Imperial or something to that, maybe. But
what up, Copa? Yeah, we're me and Copa. We're the biggest fans of Hayden, so this is gonna be our shit.
You and Roxy Stryer both. You guys are actually Stryer. I'm there for it too. I mean, you know what? I understand the detractors from him, but overall, I'm just happy he's back in the franchise. It makes sense to me. So yeah, we're trying to get Moses Ingram. I don't know much about. I know she's been in the Queen's Gambit, but I've heard some good things about her as well.
Moses, or who do you mean right now?
The Moses, the one next to Hayden Christensen.
Yep. Okay, Moses Ingram. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we know Kumail Nanjiani. He's going to be in the Eternals, and he does things.
Yeah, the dude's jacked. That's what he's known for. Like, he's way more known for how jacked he is than his actual like acting stuff. I feel like that's overtaken the internet completely. Like
it's funny. The funny thing about that to me is, and maybe I'm wrong. I never want to disparage anybody's physical appearance, but his face doesn't look like someone who's jacked.
No,
and his body, and you're like,
he's like Tom Holland. Like Tom Holland has like a complete baby face, and you look at him like in Spider-Man, you think he's like rail thin. Then he takes his shirt off, and dude is yoked. Like I'm in pretty decent shape. That dude, Kumail Nanjiani, is jacked.
Right.
So he's gonna be in some kind of like he's got to be in some kind of action role. He has to be.
Yeah, at this point.
Or a superhero role. I feel like he's prime for a superhero role.
That's what's gonna be in the Eternals. He's in the Eternals.
Right. You just said that. Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely gonna be in that. So
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm excited to have him in.
Before I saw Rupert Friend's name, I thought it was Orlando Bloom. Like as soon as I saw it that time.
That makes sense. That makes sense. A villainous Orlando Bloom, I could get behind that. Okay, O'Shea Jackson Jr., of course, Ice Cube's son.
Sick.
I know him best from myself, actually from Straight Outta Compton, but also from the great Jerry B movie, Den of Thieves, also. So I'm excited about that as well.
He was in there.
Yes, he was.
He's good.
He was good. And he's got talent. So
and he was amazing in what's the Long Shot? Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron.
I actually get to get that one yet.
Really fun movie, and he's playing such a different character than he used to play. So I'd recommend watching it.
I have no idea who's going to play in Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I'm glad to see talent in. Like I said, if there's talent, I don't care where it is. Of course, I'll skip over one more. I don't know much about Simone Cassell, and I know Benny Sabnik as more of like a director and things of that nature. I don't know much about them.
Me neither.
I'm okay with that. That sounds cool. Go ahead, Connor.
Do you reckon she does the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs?
Potentially. I think she might. It's named after her. I love it.
Victory sip.
Victory sip.
Jersey. I'll give you that one.
I don't know whether to hug you or fire you.
Cassell.
It's Cassell.
But okay.
Briefly, real quick, I'm going to wrap this up shortly. I'm running a little bit late on time now. Sang Kang.
Sung Kang.
Sorry, Sung Kang.
It depends which accent you're speaking. Like me and Paul are gonna say Sung Kang. No, okay, I'm not gonna try.
I'm gonna try.
I just figured it varies on your accent, which way you're pronouncing his name.
Either way, Star Wars universe has another Han. Finally, another Han in the universe.
Han's not dead. Shout out to Show Me the Money. Han's not really dead.
That's right. Show Me the Money. Another great group there. People do the family show every week about Fast and Furious. I think he's cool actor. He was great in the Fast and Furious franchise. I'm interested to see what he is. And this one, I think later on we'll have to do a breakdown of like who we think these people are potentially. Yeah, we have more time. I'm excited to see that.
He has a good. Just quickly about he has this sort of larger, like he's definitely the smartest person in the room, Sung Kang. Like he in Fast and Furious, he also feels like he's in control, like quietly in control of the moment. Always has the right things to say.
Agreed. And I think about some of the same things here. I kind of feel the feeling. Maybe it's because it's the Fast and Furious in like that. It's influencing me. I kind of think it'll be in like a little bit of the underworld or the fringe world.
I think he might be more of a like a Jedi or a mentor type figure.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like he'd be perfect for that.
I think he's a bit of a scoundrel. I think he's going to be a guy who's like, is it too on the nose at this point to have me working with like pod racers Like that. Pod racing at Tatooine, something like that. Tricking out the pod racers and
That
everything.
actually be a good idea.
What if he's Hondo Anaka?
Yeah, we're getting canceled.
Wah, wah, wah.
Pun game is strong today, Maddie. Pun game is strong.
It is very strong. Okay, let's bring it up before we got to wrap things up here. One last thing we'll talk about, obviously the big one there.
Yeah.
Joel Edgerton and Bobby D's coming back.
Yes.
Obviously, not announced, but obviously, if they're playing anyone besides Owen and Baru, that'd be just ridiculously stupid. So I'm very excited to see them come back. Joel Edgerton, specifically, is a phenomenal actor.
He's going to be fighting for his home again. If he doesn't win this fight, he's going to lose Peru and the moisture farm.
Lose the moisture farm. There, you got no moisture farm.
Yeah.
If you don't knock him out, you ain't got a moisture farm.
If you ain't moist anymore.
Oh boy!
Oh my
boy!
God.
Oh boy!
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. But no, it's great having him back. He never got a chance to really show much in his episodes in episode 2 and 3. He didn't have a whole lot of background as far as like he didn't get enough time to shine for the act that he is. So getting to see him in this role, getting to see his development has been one of the big draws of the series to me. I've been hoping this was going to happen. Now it's confirmed. I'm so excited to see Obi-Wan's interactions with Owen and Baru. And you know, I'll touch base on this real quick. I don't want to get into a big rant on this. I'm glad to see Bonnie come back after, and obviously her personal life issues with you go watch The Vow and that whole cult thing. She got drawn in and she left. So I'm glad to see that she has come out the other side and is back and working in a good role, in a cool role. More importantly, I'm excited to see that. I think I'm more excited to know that 10 years in, and with Owen in there, we're getting a young Luke Skywalker. We can't not get a young Luke Skywalker at some point.
You know,
right?
Weirdly, this is the thing that I'm least excited about. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Luke, but I feel like that was the perfect cameo for him in. Okay, spoiler alert for a previous Star Wars show, in The Mandalorian. But I feel like recasting him young, like, I feel like we're okay with him. Just I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. Pretty much. I'm not excited to see him again in this.
This is where I differ from you. I think I'm excited to see him, and especially almost to a degree even more than Mandalorian, because it's important to see for Obi-Wan, and it wasn't really important to see for Mandalorian or for Grogu. Like you could have put any Jedi in there. That was more for the fans. This actually serves the story even better, I think. You get to see Owen's reaction, especially if he's dealing with Hayden Christensen. You get to see the son of his friend growing up. You get that moment where Luke talks about in episode 4, where obviously he knows who Obi-Wan is, or Old Ben, rather. He knows who Old Ben is. So they've had run-ins at some point. So getting to see that happen and see where we get to, I think that actually serves Obi-Wan's side of the story more. And I think we actually look at A New Hope a little bit differently after this now. And that if it's done right and done well, I think it adds a lot to the lore. So I'm excited about the potential for that.
I feel like there's too big of a chance to mess it up.
There's a chance. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got Deborah Chow, who was like 2 of the highest rated Mandalorian episodes of the series rated. Phenomenal person as far as direction goes. I think you got to have. I think Filoni and Favreau are behind the scenes at this point for this as well. As I think I can't quote me on that. I don't think they actually have announced anything like that. But I think
Filoni is.
I think Filoni's got to be at least in his hands in there at least at this point. And they've done so well with television. I don't see where they can go wrong with this. I do see where they can go wrong, but I have a lot of faith in that side of Star Wars right now. So give it to me. Give me the shot. Shoot your shot. I mean, fuck it up. You fuck it up. Hey, it'll suck that you fuck it up. But I'd rather see you take the shot and not make it, and then avoid it. Something that makes sense, because if you have Owen and Baru in there, it doesn't make sense not to see them.
Yeah, I do agree there. I hope that they don't give him, but they give him just enough, just the same way with Liam Neeson. We don't need much of him.
Right.
We just need the good amount of it. I feel like
100%.
I don't want Luke to overtake this sort of show, that will overshadow the characters that we're really there for.
Oh no! I totally agree with you. This is not Obi-Wan, and this is not the Obi-Wan and Luke show.
I don't want this is what I meant. Yeah.
I want to see Obi-Wan have a run. I want Luke to be in there for like maybe one episode. Maybe,
I tell you what, I'd be happy.
or maybe brief shots over 2 or 3 episodes. Maybe brief shots of him if he goes there to check on him. Maybe even in the background. I say we see him like I think we see him in the first episode, like in the background. You like see him from afar, but at some point there's a run in Mos Eisley or something where he's supposed to be getting
some power converters,
or exactly getting some power converters, or he's with Owen and Baruger at one point, kind of thing. So there could be any which way we do it, but I think there's got to be something there. So
I'd be happy with like Obi-Wan and Owen are having an argument. Obi-Wan walks away, and we just see this kid come running up to Owen and be like, "Hey, who's that?"
Right,
and that's it.
That's gotta happen. There has to be a falling out with Owen and Obi-Wan because he's the crazy dude in the desert. That's what they refer to him as.
I would actually argue and say maybe we get to see exactly. I would not only is there a falling out, but I would say that it might start out. I think Owen's never really trusted him in the beginning.
Oh, do you think so?
Place. I don't think it's ever. Yeah,
maybe it's because of the Obi-Wan fan film that I've seen that I already have like a preconceived idea of what the show is going to be like. Although this is not the same thing, but this had like Obi-Wan saved the day in a big way.
I can see that, I guess, potentially, but I don't think Owen sees it though. I think Owen, like at the point, I know there's a comic book at one point where Owen and Obi-Wan briefly interacted, and Owen was basically yelling at Obi-Wan saying, "Stay away from him. He's mine now, not yours. We're raising him the way we want to raise him. We're not having to deal with this Jedi nonsense, stuff like that." I think Owen he's a down to earth farmer, and he saw Anakin go off, and we know what happened to Anakin, or at least we know he's not around anymore. And I think that's his way of don't go out there adventuring. You stay home on the farm, be a man, that kind of thing. So Owen's going to be against the idea of Obi-Wan being around. And I think we're going to see that in this, and I think that's where we're going to have the big conflict. I think Owen's like, he's my child now. You brought him to me to protect him. Let me protect him. I don't want your involvement anymore. But Obi-Wan's can't not get involved. So there'll be some kind of conflict there. I can't wait to see what that's going to be and how Luke responds to that. That's an interesting thing. I think at one point you're going to see Luke, because Luke's always been impetuous. Luke's always been impulsive. So I think there might be a point where Luke gets away from the farm again, and that's where Obi-Wan has to save him that way, and Obi-Wan brings him back. That's where I see it happening. Like he kind of gets away, Obi-Wan finds him, and then Obi-Wan grabs Luke, has to bring him back to the farm, and that's where we get a little confrontation, so to speak. So
that's a good prediction.
I'll have to say that's what happens. Well, the most interesting part is that I think we get maybe. I'm going to go a little bit one step further, and this is the last thing I say before I wrap it up. I will say, how cool would it be? And it has to be done perfectly. If we get like the near miss, where like Obi-Wan with Luke.
What do you mean near miss?
I'm about to explain. Obi-Wan's with Luke. If Vader shows up, Vader never sees Luke. Vader never sees anything. But there's like that ship's passing the night where Vader could almost be meeting Luke and almost seeing Luke in that danger zone. We know it's not going to happen because we know New Hope. But we see that moment like, oh, how does this work out? How does Vader miss this? And Obi-Wan has to do something to draw Vader away. Maybe that's why Obi-Wan reveals himself, has to draw Vader away for some reason or something like that. I don't know. I'm excited about this. So a lot of potential. All right, guys, I hate to cut and run, but I do got to go. My wife will kick my ass if I don't get my old man's house. She's already there cooking. So I got to get going. So thank you all for showing up. Maddie, where can the folks find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Matty Gunner, on Clubhouse, my name, Matty Gunner, Instagram, Matty_Gunner, and you guys can find me, every Wednesday and Sunday at 9 p.m. UK time on the Wild Jones Podcast Network for the ONU MMA show, and also here with these guys.
Mr. Richard Eric Jarvi.
You can find me at Richard Eric with a K Jarvi on Facebook and Instagram. You can see some older episodes of me and PLD talking movie versus movie in Class Action. We probably would have to do a final episode at some point. We're not going to leave it at that, but yeah. So on Sundays here with Maddie, Paul, and hopefully again soon, Bedor. We miss you.
That's right. We will do Class Action at some point. We did kind of like.
We have to do something. We kind of left it.
We got a low-key canceled it in a way because we just got so busy and was not sure. I do want to do something, and that might be something I eventually read down the line. We might revisit that down the line and maybe bring it back or reshape it and bring it back to the Action Issues channel. But let me start my quick little long-term thing. I have a lot of stuff to plug. Find me every week on this actual network here doing this actual show with these fine gentlemen. getting Bedora on hopefully next week. And I do, like I said before at the top, I do want to bring up some ideas of guests potentially. So stay tuned for that. That's a good one. Maddie just suggested something good in chat for class action. I won't reveal it on air because I think I want to talk about it. Maybe we should.
Easy win though.
Wow. I don't want to know. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say that. But quick before you find me, also you can find this at tpublic.com/PLD Projects. You got PLD Projects, you got Scoundrels of the Forest, and then that's something my son did for 2B2T Chronicle. That's his gaming thing. So I created a shirt for him and his friends. So feel free to buy that as well if you'd like. But definitely get the Scoundrels of the Forest shirt if you want to rep being a scoundrel like us. But also you can find me on Call and Action, usually on a weekly basis. The Movie Trivia Schmodown After Show. You can find me on weekends on Action Industries, the home of Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy. We do a weekly Falcon Winter Soldier review on Friday. We do Action Unfiltered Friday nights. Saturdays a kind of rotating show. We just did the general debate yesterday, which is 4 generals debating. They debated on the greatest hero / villain of all time. It was a fun debate, so it's fun to watch. And then Sunday we do the Action Guys, which is tonight. I may be behind the scenes on that one. I may not be, depending on how things go at Easter dinner. Of course, also you can find me on First Class League, the expansion of the Movie Trivia Schmodown, the developmental league. It goes every Tuesday live at 3 p.m. Pacific for 2 matches a week. I'm the executive producer and head question writer for them. That's been a lot of fun so far. We already have our first episode debut. We got another one coming up this week. Should be a lot of fun there. And I think I just said everything. I will say I'm developing a short form project here on BLD Project. I'm going to do a show about Queen, where I deep dive into Queen songs one by one. Maybe hopefully quick episodes here, not 15-minute episodes. But you know me, I ramble, so I don't know if I can ever keep anything to 15 minutes. But we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out. But otherwise, that is it. Glad to have you on board. Thank you very much, guys, for always joining me. May the force be with you. Oh, I put the wrong one up there. I always do that. You know what? Fuck it. May the force be with you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye now.